Good morning, everybody. First, I want to say thank you guys so much. I'm really blown away by how many of you gave my husband and I happy anniversary wishes yesterday. It was really amazing to log on this morning and see all of that. Second is, oh my gosh, my hair is kind of crazy, but that's probably because, well, I had a mask and my hairnet and everything else on this morning. So I apologize if I'm a little disheveled looking, but I wanted to chat with you because there's something about kitty litter and essential oils that most people don't really know when it comes to constantly working around essential oils. Some of you that have been around for a long time already know what I'm going to be talking about, and it's super, super important if you don't. The thing that I'm talking about is knowing how to clean up spills. So this morning, I realized I had a small spill the other day, and I had set out the kitty litter, and I had cleaned and cleaned and cleaned, and it never dawned on me that I didn't even talk to you guys about it. And so I thought maybe today I would talk a little bit about that. So what had happened, I was in my lab coat, had my Crocs on, thank goodness, because sometimes I wear my sneakers and my sneakers are just not as good. But I had my Crocs on, my lab coat, full PPE, everything. And my lab coat, none of the lab coats are made for women. They're not. So the lab coat, how it works is it hangs and there's about this much room in between the cuff and my arm when I'm working. Well, my arm dragged across the top of one of my beakers that I was blending in, and I had about 30 mils of essential oil blend go everywhere. Now, the first thing that I always do when this happens is check the lab coat, make sure there's none on me. If there is, everything gets taken off, and then I put on fresh so that I can make sure I don't have any contact with the essential oils, put on fresh PPE. And then I start the cleanup process. And with the amount of oil that I had to clean up, it wasn't just wiping it and tossing it. It was a puddle on the counter. So it required quite a bit of sopping it up. And with that much essential oil, I'm not gonna run that through my wash. I'm not going to just throw it in the trash. So I actually ended up taking a old rag that I had, I keep a pile of them, and I soaked the entirety of it up. The gloves that I had on, I then took and pulled over that rag so that there'd be as few volatiles as possible, and that went in a hazardous container. The next thing I did was I cleaned the entire surface, put everything away, sterilized everything, put it all away, and re-cleaned and then re-sterilized the entire surface. And I do that for two reasons. Not just because I spilled something, but because those volatiles are still gonna sit there until I fully clean it up. So it pretty much meant starting over from scratch, resetting the entire workspace, starting over from the blend and whatnot. So once I did that, then I got out my kitty litter. And the reason I get out kitty litter is because it's got an amazing ability to absorb volatiles. That's why we use it in kitty litter boxes, because it sucks up all the smell and holds it really, really well. So I actually have a little bag that has kitty litter that sits on the top of my cabinets. And then I also put out a tray of kitty litter below my cabinets so that from the top to the bottom, I was having everything absorbed. I will tell you this, if you have wood cabinets and you have a spill, it's incredibly difficult to get the essential oils out of cabinets because they're porous. Wood is porous. So my advice, if you are setting up a pouring station of any kind, is use a stainless steel table with nothing below it, just the shelving. Spills can happen in even the most careful of circumstances, and as much of a pain and as frustrating as it was for me to lose that much essential oil, it's better for it not to contaminate other things and then obviously linger around in the air for a long, long time. Now, the sad part about this is I actually have a mat that I keep on the floor, and enough of it did come off the counter and get on that mat. That mat is now sitting outside and will likely not ever be used again and have to be disposed of. Not a fun thing. when you lose 30 mils of essential oil. So that's what kitty litter has to do with essential oils. And if you don't have some kitty litter in your house when you're working with essential oils, get some. It's not overly expensive, and you never know how much essential oil you're going to spill. And I'll tell you what, I've used kitty litter probably 2 or 3 times a year because accidents happen. Regardless of how careful we are, how methodical we are, they're going to happen. You're going to spill some. So the things that I really want you to take away from this is, one, make sure you've got kitty litter in your house. It's okay to keep some below and some above where you're working. That way, any volatiles that you have nearby, especially if you don't have a good filtration system, they're pulling those out of the air. The other thing is, if you have any essential oil that you spill on your PPE, your lab coat, whatever, you've got to strip it down before cleaning. Because if you get contact with that, you'll end up with the potential reaction, overexposure, things like that. So change out of your PPE, put fresh PPE on, the whole 9 yards, before you're cleaning. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I've actually gotten essential oil on me. I want to say it was cinnamon a few years ago, and just through the clothing. And it wasn't a whole bunch, it was just a couple drops, but it was on the top of the lab coat, and it got to my skin. So always change out of your lab coats, your PPE, and make sure that you do that before you clean. And then completely clean everything, your bottles, everything, start from scratch. And I hope this helps. Like I said, if you don't have kitty litter, make sure you get some. It's incredibly important. And as always, because it's hot outside, practice the pause if you're using essential oils and they come in the mail to you. We'll talk more about that in an email that I'm going to be sending out soon. All right, that's it, guys. I hope you have a good day. I'm going to hop off now that I've been in here blubbering for a few minutes, and I will chat with you later. Bye.